Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Donald Trump might decide to try and save TikTok, at least try to give them an extension, a 90-day extension to work out a sale to an American. And we will see if Trump actually does end up saving it. You can see President elect Trump to grant TikTok 90-day extension from ban. That's according to NBC. And this entire situation is very interesting for a number of reasons. Number one, it does seem like a lot of people are split on this, mainly on the right. I'm really not sure the opinion of liberals, certainly some establishment liberals pushing back against TikTok. A lot of establishment conservatives want TikTok gone. Many people looking at it from the lens of, oh, I don't use the app. The app is cancer. It's bad for young people. So why should it be here? Also the Chinese spyware, everything like that. And certainly, I don't really take into account what it does to children and things just because there's other platforms that they're going to flock to. And unfortunately, it looks like one of them is even more Chinese with the Red Note, which is like mind blowing that liberal young kids and really just people in general are going to that app. You would think there would be some type of an American knockoff, but I have told people and I've stressed to people the YouTube shorts are different than an app like TikTok. TikTok was specifically made for short form content. YouTube shorts were an adopted feature to YouTube, which is still primarily long form. And so the algorithms are going to be different. It's just going to look different. The interface, how you interact with it's going to be different, which is like, it's shocking. They had Vine and then Vine was so popular. You'd think they'd make something after it, but it's TikTok that comes along. And there has been things to where people have looked into the amount of data that TikTok takes from Americans, and it's terrible. Now, it's hard to really say, well, this is way worse in terms of the amount of data that's farmed than what Google would take or Apple or something of that nature, because it looks like it's worse, but we don't know. Maybe it's just not disclosed, but it does seem like TikTok is the worst violator in terms of data theft by a mile, with them really not complying with a lot of the American laws that the US based companies have to comply with. So that's another problem. But obviously, this is going to seem like, well, you just want to get it banned because there's a lot of liberal kids on TikTok that say some negative things about Israel. And certainly that's a component of it. And you're kind of blaming it on national security as a way to ban it. It's a very easy thing to do. And so Trump is someone, if I remember correctly, he was the one that said we should ban it. It's not good. It's a Chinese. I mean, that's the difference when you've got all these liberal kids saying, "Well, American companies spy on us too." Yes, but they're American companies. Now they might sell that data, and that's a whole nother argument. But there is something inherently different about a Chinese company, in TikTok coming in with ByteDance to just steal all of our data, and an American company doing it. There's something inherently different about that. I mean, it's just so much easier for China to get all of it. But again, now it looks like, I mean, there's like US soldiers posting different things on Red Note now. It's like showing military bases and really weird stuff. So it's like, I mean, you want to get rid of TikTok, maybe there's something worse. So that could be an argument for why TikTok should stay. But just in general, Trump originally wanted to get rid of it. He was the first one that brought it up like 2019, sometime right before COVID. And then he said, no, I don't want to get rid of it. And then I think he wanted to get rid of it again. And now he doesn't, or he came out like a few weeks ago and said he'd rather not get rid of it. And so we'll see if Trump ends up granting this 90-day extension. But I mean, isn't TikTok and China just telling on themselves when they won't sell it? You've got all these people. There's like 7 or 8 big names in the United States wanting to buy TikTok for 20, 30, whatever it ends up being, $1 billion. It's a lot of money. But they're like, I mean, TikTok is useless without it being, without it being able to spy, being owned by China. They're forcing them to sell to an American company. Then TikTok becomes useless. It's kind of funny because like they're telling on themselves the only reason the app is even functioning in the United States is to just mine data from U.S. citizens. Isn't that kind of dumb for us to allow an app like that to exist? Considering, well, I mean, we are forcing them to sell, but it's just like, I don't know, man. I can see both sides of it. I really can. I think I would probably lean towards not banning it, but I really don't have the full information. I would have to be briefed on it properly to really understand everything that goes into it. It does seem like there's a lot of influence from, let's just say, establishment Democrats and Republicans who don't want this app to be around anymore. And certainly there's a lot of lobbying going on by the competitors, the US based competitors who are pissed off. You can see what really all of them have done. You've got Twitter now, or X. Whenever you click on a video, you can just scroll up, another video plays. Very similar short form thing to what TikTok has. You've got the Instagram Reels. You've got a Facebook version of the short form content. You've got the YouTube Shorts. So all of them have copied TikTok, and they would love for TikTok to not be allowed, and all those young kids have to go to a different app. And that would certainly help YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. So Zuckerberg, I'm sure, is very interested in spending a lot of money in trying to get TikTok banned. That's just the way these things work. Whether or not he'll be able to do it, I don't know. But there's a lot of bigger, nuanced stuff going on behind the scenes based off of motivation to get all of these young kids away from TikTok and onto other apps. That's the whole point of, well, it's bad for young people. Yes, but they're just going to go to another form of short form content. It's not going to really do it, because someone asked me, like, well, is this going to change things in terms of young people developing more social skills and in real life interactions? It's just that there's too many options. There's just too many options. I mean, TikTok gets banned, you go straight to YouTube, and then there's probably something else that gets created, because there's going to be the thing that TikTok separates itself from is the fact that it was designed, and its algorithm was designed for short form vertical content, not horizontal. And I mean, that's what Vine was. And there really hasn't been anything that's developed to really take its place here. And I mean, I would love to really look into how even the Red Note thing start. My guess is that Red Note, that company, probably there's some huge American big time TikTok influencers who are reliant on TikTok as their by far number one source of income through sponsorship deals. That's what those are the type of people you target, who are like, if TikTok goes away, we're screwed. And you tell them, hey, Red Note's the same thing. Get all of the fans over to Red Note. And then it starts this big migration from Americans onto this app that's not even in English on the App Store. And then these people are downloading it. And it's pretty crazy when you think about it. And then you've got all the simping for communism and the CCP. And that's more so, young people just being very stupid. And I say stupid in a non-threatening way. I'm not trying to criticize people, but it's a very stupid act to be that naive when it comes to downloading an app like that, allowing yourself to be brainwashed, and then repeating talking points from a specific point of view that you've been given just because you've downloaded an app and heard their point of view when it's specifically curated content. It's just a very stupid action. It lacks a lot of common sense and critical thinking. And unfortunately, when you're 19, 20, that's what happens with a lot of these young kids, especially young kids that have been taught that, America is a very bad country. We're number one, which means we're bad. That's another thing that they're taught. You should not have nationalism. You should not have patriotism. It's very bad for you. And it's bad to be number one. And we've taken things from people and we don't deserve it. And you can develop this type of thinking to where you always hate your country and everyone else is better than us, no matter what anyone says. And it kind of leads to this type of behavior where you go on these, I mean, it's in Mandarin on the App Store. You've got all these kids downloading. Like, what are you doing? Like, imagine your kid downloads this app. It's just like, I imagine it's from an influencer getting paid by Red Note or by somebody in China. Hey, tell your supporters to download this app. It's basically TikTok 2.0. But getting back to this thing, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with Trump. It'll certainly be interesting. You've got the crypto ball happening last night. Trump launching his meme coin. That was, there it is. There's Kraken right there. Apparently, Trump's official Trump meme coin is now on Kraken as well. You've got Eric Trump tweeting it out, talking about the Trump meme coin, currently the hottest digital meme on Earth. You've also got this situation with the inauguration. Let me just talk about what I think happened with the inauguration here, about a day and a half removed, or maybe it came out yesterday, that the inauguration was going to be inside due to the weather. Liberals are going to come out and say, well, they'll say Trump's terrible, he's weak, he doesn't want to be, it's not even that cold, or he couldn't get many people to be there. What I think happened is, if you look at some of the experts, Dan Bongino, people like that, a week, 2 weeks ago, they said people are nervous about the inauguration. I mean, there's a lot of sightlines to watch. We know what happened with Trump back in the summer. Everyone's going to be at the inauguration. It's a number one target. I'm sure there were a lot of threats that we don't know about, probably way more so than 2016, or I guess the inauguration for Trump was 2017, his first term. And I'm sure this is probably going to all come out in the future, just about the amount of threats. And so I would imagine there was a lot of trepidation within the Trump camp And now you've got this weather report to where it's like iffy. It's not like it's going to be -5 degrees. It's going to be cold. But I mean, it's going to be sunny. It's like 20 degrees and sunny. It's not like the worst thing ever. And normally the inaugurations are outside. But it's this idea to where, listen, I was almost shot in the head. This is a prime spot outside where everyone's going to be. The Obamas aren't going. The Bushes aren't going. The Clintons aren't going. Not saying that, that has, but I mean, people are talking about that. Maybe, they didn't want to be there for a reason. But why really risk it when we've got this nice weather excuse? We don't have to have people panicking about anything and me being in danger, me being Trump, I'm saying. And we can just have it inside to make sure everything's secure. And so I would imagine that's probably what happened, honestly. That seems like the most logical thing. That, there has to be some serious concerns regarding security at the inauguration. And listen, it's going to be cold. Hey, we're moving inside because it's cold. But also, the real reason is some serious. Let's just make sure everything's safe, basically. Especially which I mean, not one but twice. I mean, the rifle went through the fence at the the golf resort as well in Florida, and that was like a month and a half later. So it's like we're kind of tempting fate here. Let's just keep things safe. We've got the weather now as a good excuse to make sure everything runs smoothly and nothing crazy happens, because we know Democrats have made their point. When Trump survived that attempt, they were very angry. They were very mad. And they were mad because Trump survived. They wanted Trump to die, 100%. That's not even a question. And so when you have a party that operates like that, you do have to be very cautious. And it's like, well, if, what's the... Obviously, you want to have the inauguration outside. It looks better than natural light. We understand it. But it's something that, if we can have it inside, blame the weather. Let's just keep this thing safe. There's been, again, we don't know, but I'm sure it's probably going to come out. There's been like a historic number of threats against Trump. Guys, you know a crazy thing? I did a video back in, it would have been probably like July. I don't know exactly, but it was in between the debate and the assassination attempt. Maybe July 5th, July 6th. And it was just one of those videos where it's like, oh, you see this thing on Reddit about somebody threatening to kill Trump. And it's nothing crazy, but it's just interesting how, and then a week later. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Links to that's always in the description.